I'm Concita Thomas with Great Shape Fit Club, and I'm coming today in video to talk to you about managing macros without obsessing. So by this time, we've had a continued discussion about macronutrients, what they are, how to manage and manipulate them to achieve your goals, and we've started to get some feedback and some questions. A lot of you have started to manage your macros, and the question or the concern about obsessing over food has come up, and so I wanted to address that. I want to start off first by saying that any program, whether it's clean eating, managing your macros, lean and green, pretty much eating proteins and vegetables, anything, any program that you follow, you can find that you become obsessive about food and what you do and you don't eat. The same way that you can find that when you don't pay attention at all to what you eat, that you become obsessed with eating more and more food, and or your body starts to reflect that choice. So again, I am not saying that any program or approach is superior over the other. I'm just saying that if you find that no matter what program you try, you always find yourself obsessing, I encourage you to dig deeper. The root of that obsession may not be the food at all. It may have nothing to do with the diet, the exercise, or the fitness. However, there are some tips that I'm going to offer today that could help you tweak your approach to macros. And if this works, awesome, then that's not the issue. You don't need to look any deeper. But like any other program or approach that we've ever talked about, it all starts with planning. So planning in advance can help you manage macros without obsessing. So if you're going through the day and you start the day with no plan at all, you have no idea what you're going to eat, you haven't taken any efforts to have the food you need available or to know where you're going to get the food, and your only plan is to put what you eat into your tracking tool, yes, you may find that you're obsessing. It can be highly stressful to realize you don't have near enough protein halfway through the day, or that you blew your carb, your carb budget, if you will, at the first meal. All of that can be avoided by simply planning. It takes a couple minutes the night before to just write down in your tool, whether it's electronic one or pen and pencil, what you're going to eat for that day, so that you go into the day with a solid plan of how to hit your macros. Planning in advance. Number 2, have an idea of which foods fall into which categories, so that when you substitute or you spontaneously have something different because maybe you were invited out to lunch, you have some idea of which foods fall into which categories, so that again, when you go into your tracking tools to record your substitution so that you know how to manage the rest of your day, that you aren't completely taken by surprise that you're now all of a sudden, in a place where it's really going to be hard for you to hit your macros by the end of that day. So knowing which foods fall into, loosely knowing which categories. For instance, realizing that an ice cream cone is a carb and not a protein, like that. That's what I mean by loosely knowing. And then use a tracking tool. So if you're not using a tracking tool, the most basic would be literally writing on pen and paper or a spreadsheet. I don't recommend that. Personally, I find that's very cumbersome, but some people love it that way. Or what I personally use and recommend is MyFitnessPal, which is an application on your phone. It makes it very easy to know where your calories and macros, where your food is coming from, which macronutrient groups. So use a tool to make it easy to know that you're hitting your macro goals. And then finally, think big picture. You're not going to explode or shrink overnight. So if one day, you spontaneously or even plan to have a great yummy meal with family and friends, and there's no way you could possibly hit your macros for that day because of that meal, don't stress it. Think big picture. Think over the term of 2 to 3 days or even a week. And don't let this stress you out. This should be a management tool to help you stay in control, and not one that makes you feel out of control. So those are my tips on how to manage your macros without obsessing.